on, everybody. Let's do this. Here we go. Come on, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey. That's me. Yeah. Oh, my please.
Hello Musketeers, welcome to Mondays with Mickey. My name is Mike Kniggy and I am your host, and this week we're going to talk about Dead Men Tell No Tales, the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Alright, I'm going to be including spoilers more than likely, so if this is something that you want to go see and you don't want to hear any details about the movie, now is the time to run for the hills. Next week we'll have more Disney stuff. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're still here, spoilers are coming, so just that was your warning. All right, so first impressions of the movie. I loved it. It's fantastic. I think that it is right in line with the original Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. In my opinion, it's probably better than most of the others, actually all the other sequels. That's just a personal opinion. I know a lot of people didn't like the previous Pirates, the one that came right before this. I thought that was all right. But this is total different ballpark. You know, the original trilogy for the Pirates of the Caribbean, this is just as good as the original. So, I highly recommend the movie. Let's just start that off. You know, Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp. You can't get much better than that. I mean, the man shows up at Disneyland dressed up as Jack Sparrow, messing with people on Pirates of the Caribbean. How cool is that? You know, he's your crazy pirate. And then you've got Jeffrey Rush playing Captain Barbossa, which he's like your quintessential classic pirate. Especially since he now has a peg leg. He's right up there as like the ultimate pirate. So between the two of them, working together is fantastic. This movie also brought back some original characters from the first movie, well, from the first trilogy. And like my wife is dying over here. She's either laughing or choking or coughing or something. I think she's doing all. She wasn't doing all of it originally until I started talking about her. See? There she is. So, all right. Yeah, we all kind of got like coughs and stuff going on. It's not the best in the world. So anyway, like I was saying, they brought back people from the original trilogy. They brought back Will Turner. They also brought back Elizabeth Swann. Well, I guess technically Elizabeth Turner now. Basically, the premise of the movie is initially their son is going out to find Will. And he's trying to find a way to break the curse that holds Will to the Flying Dutchman. Because, you know, he wants his dad back. His mom obviously wants his dad back. And they've lived their entire life, you know, he's lived his entire life without his dad on land. He sees him once every 10 years, if I remember correctly. So, he's spending every waking moment trying to find a way to get his dad back, which ends up leading him to Jack Sparrow, because obviously he'd heard the stories of his dad and Jack Sparrow and all the craziness they got into. So, you know, it starts off, he hunts down Will. First thing in the movie, I mean, the movie opens up with this kid finding the Flying Dutchman. You know, he mapped out where it would be underwater, and then he basically throws a giant boulder over the side of his little rowboat and sinks down to the bottom and lands square on the deck of the Dutchman. So the kid's smart. He figured it out. And, you know, long story, Will's, you know, glad to see him, but he's like, hey, look, you got to go because you can't be here, and if the crew sees you, there's going to be a problem. So the kid leaves, and it fast forwards several years later. You find Jack Sparrow. He's drunk, as always. robbing a bank, literally the entire bank, not just the safe, the entire bank. When you watch the movie, you'll understand. But along with that, at the same time, you run into another character. She ends up becoming the love interest of Will's son. She is extremely intelligent, so much so, and extremely educated, so much so that everyone thinks she's a witch, and she's on trial for being a witch. So anyway, they get back into things. They're trying to deal with, Jack stealing the bank. You got her being on trial for a witch. He ends up seeing, his son ends up seeing this thing called the Devil's Triangle. They're on a ship. They're hunting down a pirate, and he tries to steer them away from it. And unfortunately, he's kind of a lowly person on the pecking order on the ship, so he ends up getting charged with treason. So he's got that trouble on him. So I've really just twisted this all around. But basically, his son gets charged with treason, and they decide to barrel into this Devil's Triangle anyway. And they come across this ghostly pirate, the main bad guy of the movie, Captain Salazar, and his ship. And they, obviously, by the time they get into it, the pirate's already dead. And then they get attacked, and they always leave supposedly one survivor behind because they want that survivor to tell the tales. Because dead men tell no tales. So, luckily for him, he survives, because he also, as Salazar's coming down, he sees the last two people, because obviously he's in a jail cell because he's just charged with treason, or the brig. There's two people in the brig. One person's whining and freaking out, and the other one's him. Well, at his feet is a wanted picture of Jack Sparrow. And this captain has a beef with Jack Sparrow, because Jack Sparrow is the one who ended up getting him killed. And, they go into that later in the movie about how, he was hunting down pirates and all that jazz. And, what's left of the pirates banded together to fight him. And basically Jack was a lowly nothing on the ship, but ends up taking command of a pirate ship after the captain's killed. And that's how he actually gets his compass. And it shows that, which is kind of cool for those who've been following the movies. And he leads this guy to his death. So anyway, as a ghost, he's kind of getting vengeance on these people. So when he realizes this kid's looking for Jack Sparrow, he sends the kid with a message that, death is coming for Jack Sparrow. So fast forward to back everything I was just talking about earlier, about how Jack is stealing a bank, and she's in jail for being a witch. And he shows up on land as the only survivor from the ship, and they realize, by looking at his uniform, that he was charged with treason, and now he's in jail. So all three of them are on these major charges. And to boot all this, Jack escapes, with this bank, the entire bank, only to find out that Jack isn't really a pirate anymore. He's a wannabe pirate. He's got this little crappy boat that's on land, ship that's on land. It's a one-masted ship. It can't even sail. What's left of his crew are slowly working on it. In the previous movie, you saw that Jack had the pearl in a glass bottle. Actually, he had an entire fleet of ships in glass bottles. But seemingly all those ships are gone. I don't know if Barbossa got a hold of them, or somebody got a hold of them or something. But he only has one left, and it's the pearl. He still can't get it out of the bottle. So he's got this crappy little ship with what's left of his crew. And because they stole the entire bank, and as they were dragging said bank through the town, the money just kind of slowly emptying out, and people were just kind of collecting it. By the time they got back, there was like one coin left in the bank. So his crew basically abandons him and forgets him. So you've got Jack Sparrow, who has nothing, and you got these other two in jail. Jack actually ends up pawning his compass to get some alcohol, some rum, because that's all he has. And turns out when he does that, that's what releases Salazar from his prison to come hunt him. So all this is happening. Salazar starts hunting down pirates in general while he's looking for Sparrow. Back to what he used to do. And at this point, Barbossa is like an admiral of pirates. He's like the pirate king of the seas. He has like 10 ships, and they all pay bounties to him and all that jazz. Well, Salazar is slowly knocking off his ships. which leads him to, try to find a way around this situation because, he doesn't want to lose his money. He likes his money. So initially, he ends up seeking out Salazar to cut in a deal to help hunt down Jack. And, of course, he's a pirate, so he turns on Salazar at some point. And so all this stuff's going on. And like I said, I'm trying to give the entire movie here, but they all end up banding together because they realize the only way to stop Salazar, the only way that Will's son can free him from the Dutchman, all this comes down to one item that will solve all their problems. Okay, so it'll get rid of Salazar. In Barbossa's mind, it'll give him everything he lost back. In Jack's mind, it'll possibly get him the pearl back for one, but, hopefully reverse his fortunes. Will's son wants this thing because it'll free Will. And then the girl just wants to prove her heritage because she's got a book that helps lead them all to this item. And this item is the Trident of Poseidon. Supposedly all curses are tied into this trident. All curses on the seas are tied into this trident. It rules the seas, essentially. Whoever has it controls everything. So they're all hunting this thing. I won't give details about how they hunt it or whatever, but, throughout the course of this adventure of them searching for this thing, you find out that the girl is actually Barbossa's daughter, which was mind-blowing because they go into the backstory about why he gave her up and how he gave her up and how she doesn't know anything about him and all that. At the end of the movie, after they found the trident, he ends up sacrificing himself. This is probably the heartbreaking moment of the movie. He sacrifices himself to save his daughter. And that the moment he sacrifices himself is the moment he basically tells her that you're my daughter. She looks at him because she sees this tattoo which matches something that was on her book. And she looks up at him because he saves her from falling. And she looks up at him she's like, what are you to me? Or what am I to you? And he looks at her and he says, treasure. And then he lets go and sacrifices himself to take out Salazar so that she can live. So basically, the moment he dies, she realizes that's my father. And she now knows her history, her lineage. At the end of the movie, she honors him by taking his last name. Because she didn't have it. She was Smith. Because she didn't know who she was. It's like the Snows from Game of Thrones. So that happens. They end up breaking the trident because they realize that the only way to stop all these curses is not to use the trident to break the curses, but to break the curses that are inside the trident. So they break the trident. Salazar is no longer a cursed ghost. He's actually returned to human form, which is how Barbossa is able to kill him later. But the side effect that particularly Will's son was looking for was that once the curses are broken, the Flying Dutchman and her crew are returned to their state, the state they were before they were cursed. So the Flying Dutchman's a regular ship again. The crew are all human again. And he's able to sail home. Well, when he gets home, Will's waiting for him with his girlfriend, his new girlfriend. And he comes off the ship, he comes onto dry land, hugs his son, and then the cameo that a lot of people were waiting for, out comes Elizabeth, and they hug and kiss. They're playing the music from, when they were together in the first movie and first movies. And it's a really touching moment, especially considering you just lost Barbossa. Now they're together, and it's all really happy. And by this point, Jack already has the pearl back, so he's off being a pirate again because the crew's now all of a sudden loyal to him again because he has a ship. But so everyone's kind of happy. Everything's right with the world. Jack's a pirate, except for Barbossa being dead. Jack's a pirate again, and even the monkey's being friendly with him, which is really weird and creepy. But he's a pirate again. Will's got his family, and everything's right with the world. The bad guys are dead. Yeah. Like they leave it like that. Now, let's back this up for a second. They originally greenlit a trilogy. A second trilogy. Alright, this is number 2 in said second trilogy. But when all the promotional material came out for this movie, it became the final adventure in the Pirates of the Caribbean series. Now, I don't know if they were putting that material out there and saying it's the final adventure just to try and drive up sales, thinking that no one knew that there was going to be another one, or if they've really canceled the trilogy. But there was an Easter egg at the very end of the credits, as Disney and Marvel seem to love to do these days. The Easter egg is Will's in bed with Elizabeth. He's sitting there dreaming, and the door opens up, and you see the shadow of Davy Jones. And not just a human Davy Jones, like an uncursed Davy Jones. No. Full out, crab hook hand, crab claw hand, Davy Jones. And you see that outline come up to the bed. Will wakes up, he freaks out. He doesn't see anything anywhere. He grabs Elizabeth, pulls her close to him, and goes back to sleep. Well, then it pans down beneath the bed, and there's water and barnacles just sitting on the ground. And it's not dead barnacles, they're like poking out. They're live barnacles sitting on the wood planks underneath the bed. Meaning that it wasn't a dream, it was really Davy Jones in full out cursed Davy Jones form next to the bed. What does this mean? Well, there's a lot it could mean. It could mean that maybe the trident didn't fully work. It could mean that somebody who has, brought people back to life before decided to bring Davy Jones back to life and reset up the Dutchman the way she meant it. I'm thinking that Calypso is playing a role in this, because Calypso's not a curse, she's a goddess. So with all the curses lifted and everything kind of reset back to a level playing field, Calypso could restore the Dutchman to the way she wants it, and she could bring back Davy Jones from the dead and put him back as captain of the ship again if she felt the need to do so. So I'm really curious. I really hope they make a third movie for this trilogy, make it a total of 6 movies, because that left a lot of unanswered questions. And if they leave it like this, it'll be just, I don't have a lot of hair left to pull out, so that would be what would happen. So that's the basic synopsis of the movie. There's a lot more to the movie, and I did jump around a considerable amount. This is probably all gibberish, which is fine. Suffice it to say, my family loved the movie. We really enjoyed it. All the acting was really good. The storyline was funny. It was heartbreaking at some points. Alright, so apparently I ran out of space on my memory card. So let's get back to what I was saying. The movie was funny. Extremely funny. It was extremely heartbreaking at several points. And it was actually inspiring at some points. We really enjoyed the movie. It was very well done. And again, we really hope they make another one, because it'd be a good way to tie the series off. So that's kind of our perspective on it. I would definitely personally give it it's not the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life, obviously. So I can't give it like a 5 out of 5. But I'd be willing to say it's probably close to like a 4.5. It's really, really good. I enjoyed it a whole lot. And for those who've been watching this and going, well, he looks weird the way this thing's angled, I look kind of weird. Also, yes, there is still a Star Wars December calendar behind me. Let me explain that. Alright. Now, I haven't gotten a new calendar, obviously. I normally get the Disney World calendar, and I didn't do that this year like I normally do. So I didn't have a calendar to replace this one. I will get one, though. That said, the wall here is kind of messed up. This calendar blocks that messed upness. So something has to be here until I get something there. And yes, it's December, but at least it's Star Wars, so it's cool. It works. But we will be fixing that eventually. And hopefully this will actually probably be one of the last times you see from this angle anyway, because my hope is to start next week back doing Mondays with Mickey from my desk area where this all started, because, it just looks better. So, thank you for taking the time to listen to me ramble about Pirates of the Caribbean. We really enjoyed it, and I'm glad you found it interesting enough to get to this point. So, thank you again. I'm going to leave you as I leave you every single week. I hope you never lose sight of one thing. This was all started by a mouse. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys next week.